This is the Locked On Jets podcast on Sunday afternoon into Sunday evening, breaking down the Jets' season opening loss to the Baltimore Ravens. I'm your host, John B. from GangGreenNation.com, and this is a daily podcast covering the New York Jets. We have new episodes each day through the week, Monday through Friday, in addition to episodes over the weekend as needed. For example, this episode, a post-game show breaking down the Jets' 24-9 loss to the Baltimore Ravens, week one of the 2022 season. If you enjoy the show, hit the subscribe button wherever you're watching or listening. You'll receive notifications as new episodes are posted through the week. If you really do enjoy the show, please give it a 5-star review if you're listening on a podcast source, or a big thumbs up if you're watching on YouTube. Well, the Jets fall 24-9 to Baltimore in their season opener, and I think it's a frustrating day to be a Jets fan. And here's why I say that. Over the last 5 to 6 years, frequently the Jets have lost games and not been competitive in games, and it's been a talent issue. You see, it's especially been true against quality opposition, where the Jets just cannot line up against these teams. I don't think that was the case in this game. And in fact, I think it's almost a positive thing because you could see the upgraded talent base on this roster. It did not feel like the Jets were overmatched talent-wise, at least at most positions. This game was there for the taking. And again, maybe it's a positive thing, but we can't do moral victories week one in a game where the Jets are down 21 points with 2 minutes left in the fourth quarter. So I'm not going to sit here and say that everything's great now because the Jets showed that they were more competitive in this game. On the contrary, I think it's frustrating because it felt like this game was there for the taking, especially in the first half. The Jets did a lot of good things, especially on the defensive side of the ball. It just felt like they could not get out of their own way. They had some bounces go against them. I mean, there was a fumble in the second half where the Jets down 17-3. Michael Clemens almost was able to grab a fumble. Baltimore got it back and then quickly scored a touchdown that really put the game out of reach right afterwards. But a lot of self-inflicted errors by the Jets. And one that I think came over the course of the offseason. And I would almost say that this game was lost in the spring when the Jets decided to take the course that they took at the backup quarterback position, bringing back Joe Flacco. And I said that at the time. And this is part of the problem. It's not about your resume as a backup quarterback. It's not about what you've done in the past. Listen, I know Joe Flacco used to be a very good starting quarterback with the Baltimore Ravens, the team the Jets played today. I know he won a Super Bowl with them a decade ago. That does the Jets very little good today. It's not about what you've done. It's not about how many impressive things are on your resume. It's about whether you can execute the offense your team is running today. And it's clear Joe Flacco can't do that. Now, I know somebody's going to look at the box score. Somebody, you probably did not see the game if you do this. And they're going to say, well, look at the numbers. Flacco threw for 307 yards. Now, you don't even have to dig that deep to see why that's a flawed stat, because it took him 59 passing attempts to throw for 307 yards. 307 yards on 59 passing attempts is really you should have way more than 307 yards if you throw the ball 59 times. But of course, if you watch that game, you know how much of that production came when the Ravens were in prevent late in the game. Flacco severely limits what the Jets can do on offense. And the frustrating thing is the way the Jets approach the backup quarterback position during the offseason, because the Jets are essentially paying, if you add up what Flacco is making and what Mike White is making, they're paying about $6 million, which is kind of high-end backup money. You can get a really high-end backup quarterback for that money. That's what the Dolphins are. I think the Dolphins are paying a little bit more. I think Dolphins are paying $6.5 million to Teddy Bridgewater. So you can get a quality backup quarterback for the amount of money the Jets are paying Joe Flacco and Mike White. And there are a couple different ways you can do backup quarterback. You can draft somebody. You can try to have an up-and-comer. You can try and develop a young quarterback. Some teams just neglect the backup quarterback position. And that's I don't know that I love that team building approach, but it's a way to go about it where you just say, you know what? We don't think we can win with a backup quarterback, so we're just not going to spend money there. And we're just going to use our resources on other parts of our team, and this will just be a weakness. That's one way to do it. I don't love it, but it's at least an understandable way to do it. There are other teams that really invest in the backup quarterback, which I think teams should do. I think it's smart to invest in the backup quarterback because it's the type of spot you hope the guy you have never sees the field. However, when you need that guy to see the field, you want to make sure he's there. So investing a lot of money in a premium backup quarterback, I think makes a lot of sense. The Jets kind of have the worst of both worlds. It's the worst of both worlds because they're paying a lot of money for the backup quarterback spot, but instead of having one guy who can actually execute, they have two guys who are really shaky in Joe Flacco and Mike White. And we could talk about what happens week 2 now. I don't see how you can go back to Joe Flacco after this performance. I understand it's difficult to announce games, especially when Joe Flacco's been around 15 years, but I thought the announcers really, really were going out of their way to be really easy on Joe Flacco, talking about the pressure he was under. Well, Joe Flacco was responsible for a lot of that pressure because he just can't move. And it goes beyond the ability to break the pocket and evade the pass rush the way you see like a Patrick Mahomes do or an Aaron Rodgers do. Flacco was struggling to even move within the pocket. And when you can't slide in the pocket, you're not stepping up, when you're not reading your blocking correctly, it really limits your offense because in order to break any sort of route downfield, and I mean, I could show you videos great coaches from decades ago have done on this. I mean, I saw a video with the great 49ers coach Bill Walsh where he talks about on a downfield route, your quarterback's got to buy you a little bit of time. Your quarterback doesn't necessarily need to be a great scrambler. He doesn't need to be Lamar Jackson, the quarterback the Jets faced in this game. But he's got to be able to slide. He's got to be able to read the protection and move a little bit to buy the receivers time to get down the field. And Flacco can't do that. And the arm is gone. I mean, it doesn't look like Flacco really has much of an arm left anyway. It seemed like he could not place the ball accurately on anything beyond a check down. There was the only ball that was really downfield that he hit during the competitive portion of the game was on a play where the Jets left extra blockers in. They ran play action. Elijah Moore was wide open, so it was like a huge window. That was the only play down the field where Flacco was able to hit something. It's an issue. And there are lots of reasons the Jets lost this game and lots of players who did not perform. But I think Flacco is right at the top of the list. He just could not function. And the Jets had every opportunity to be in this game. The defense kept them in the game in this first half. This was a 10-3 game at halftime. And by the way, 10-3, and three of the 10 points Baltimore scored was because of a Flacco interception. Now, it was a play Lawrence Cager fell down on, so it was a little bit of a timing route. Cager may have been to blame to some extent, but from the replay angles, it looked, first of all, like, again, an inaccurate throw down the field. It looked like it was going to come in high. And I'm not sure it was the right read. It seemed like Flacco would have been better off progressing to the next option, at least from what I was seeing. It seemed like it was going to be a tough throw to make. And I just don't think Flacco earned any sort of benefit of the doubt from his play throughout this game. I mean, it was pretty clear that the Jets were just not going to be able to do anything on the offensive side of the ball. Can Mike White do better? I don't know, but I don't think Mike White could do worse. Now, ahead, we're going to move on to some of the non-Flacco portions of this game in this post-game podcast. There were some things the Jets did pretty well. There were also some other miscues that ended up being costly. We'll discuss them as we continue on this Sunday post-game episode of Locked On Jets. Well, I certainly hope you did not play many Jets in daily fantasy today. Despite some garbage time stat padding, it was a very unproductive day for the Jets offense. Hopefully brighter days are ahead, however. And to play daily fantasy, I want to tell you about PrizePicks. Here's how it works. You pick 2 to 5 players, and if they score more or less than their PrizePicks projection, you can win up to 10 times your money on any entry. There's no competing against other people. It's just you versus the projections available. And they offer projections on any sport you want to watch: NFL, NBA, baseball, hockey, the PGA, college football, college basketball, WNBA, soccer, esports, NASCAR, tennis, disc golf. And if the Jets show many more performances like this, maybe I'll start a disc golf podcast and just stop talking about the Jets. Of course, I'm joking, but entries can be made in 60 seconds or less. It's just that easy. It's safe with fast withdrawals, and it's currently operational in over 30 states and Canada. Just download the PrizePicks app or go to prizepicks.com to sign up and play daily fantasy sports. And first-time users can receive a 100% instant deposit match up to $100 with promo code Locked On. If you deposit $50, PrizePicks gives you $50. If you deposit $100, PrizePicks gives you $100. And don't forget to enter promo code Locked On at sign up for an instant deposit match of up to $100. Well, just like you don't want to be the NFL team that plays offense like the Jets did on Sunday, you don't want to be the guy who ends up in the viral YouTube video, the proposal fail video, where you tried to do something fancy, you rented a boat for your girlfriend to propose, and the boat tips over, and you lose the ring. The ring ends up at the bottom of the lake. Well, the guys at BriteCo, they can't help you stay away from those videos, but they can help you if you lose your ring. They have jewelry insurance that will make sure you get a replacement at the full value, no matter if it's lost, stolen, or you just can't figure out what happened to it. Go to brite.co/locked on. It's the fastest, easiest, and cheapest way to cover yourself with the best jewelry insurance in the business. These guys are geniuses. They made buying insurance for your engagement ring, your watch, or whatever so easy you can get covered in 2 minutes on your cell phone. You won't find a better deal on great coverage that's super affordable. Brite.co/locked on. The guys at BriteCo have turned the whole experience around. They made it easy, so it's the easiest thing you can do for yourself this week. You got no excuses. It's $5 a month, and you can get totally comprehensive coverage. It won't take you more than 2 minutes on your cell phone. Again, check it out, brite.co/locked on, and check out all the videos. They're hilarious. There's the one I mentioned about the guy in the boat which tips over. There's so many funny commercials, but it's a serious topic. So go to brite.co/locked on to see more. Thank you for making Locked On Jets your first listen or first watch every day. This show is free and available on all platforms, recapping a Jets 24-9 defeat at the hands of the Baltimore Ravens on Sunday. I mentioned it at the top of the show. It was a frustrating loss because it just felt like the Jets could not get out of their own way. I mentioned an interception Joe Flacco threw early that put the Jets behind. There was a penalty that set up Baltimore's first touchdown of the game, Lamarcus Joyner, where it just felt like he lost track of things. He was tracking the ball and did not see a man he was running into. That set up a touchdown to Devin Duvernay, where Bryce Hall was just beaten off the line of scrimmage. Bryce Hall, who we all praised last year, had an awful preseason, rough game against Atlanta, and got off to a really rough start in 2022 today. He came in, the Jets put Sauce Gardner on a passing down on Mark Andrews, which meant they needed another corner on the field, and Bryce Hall was the guy Baltimore went after. They scored a touchdown to go up 10-0. The second half, I mentioned the Jets had a chance to get back in the game. Michael Clemens just couldn't quite. That one wasn't really Clemens' fault. It was just bad luck. But a bad punt by Braden Mann, a 20-yard punt, set up a Baltimore touchdown. The Jets gave up 2 touchdowns, both of which were miscommunications by the new safety duo, Lamarcus Joyner and Jordan Whitehead. Maybe just an issue as these guys are learning the system, learning to play together. But both cases, it felt like they were not where they needed to be. It felt like they were not communicating well. All around a frustrating game. Greg Zuerlein misses a field goal and an extra point. Joe Douglas has had 2 issues that are just inexcusable during his tenure. One is backup quarterback, because this Flacco thing, it's not the first time the Jets have been short at the backup quarterback position. And once again, the kicker position, the Jets let Eddie Pinheiro go for a guy with a big leg, Greg Zuerlein. And in fairness to Joe Douglas, I'll say this, Joe Douglas has been an abysmal evaluator of the kicker position. He's brought in guys who have no experience. Greg Zuerlein at least does have some experience, so maybe he can bounce back. Maybe the Jets make a move. I mean, honestly, after what we've seen in this game, based on what these guys have done recently, I would not have an issue if the Jets had auditions for a new kicker and a new punter going forward. And it's frustrating is the word of the day, because all in all, this was a good defensive performance. I think the defense played well, especially in the first half. They were hitting, they were flying to the football. It's amazing what a better talent base can do for you. And the Jets, it felt like they were controlling the trenches in the line. It seemed like guys were rotating in and out. Guys were getting to Lamar Jackson, and they kept him under control. I did a morning podcast previewing the game where I talked a little bit about how the Jets needed to stay disciplined in their rushes. And really, there was only one time. It was early in the second half when Lamar broke the pocket on a third down play, and the Jets missed a couple chances to get him, and he scrambled for a first down. Outside of that, the Jets did a really good job containing Lamar Jackson. I think the back end of the defense, outside of the breakdowns at safety, outside of the one play with Bryce Hall, Sauce Gardner had a strong debut. He took Mark Andrews on a number of key downs and really locked him up. For the most part, DJ Reed played well. He was hitting. He had an interception. It was in garbage time, but DJ Reed played pretty well. I thought Michael Carter II also had a strong game. So if you're looking for silver lining from this game, the defense played well. And the defense that really struggled against the run last year, a defense that had a ton of issues stopping the run, a defense that was so bad against the run that heading into this game, I felt like Baltimore was a really bad matchup for them. They controlled the line of scrimmage. They had guys flying to the football. They locked guys up at the back of the defense. If the Jets keep playing defense like this, there could be some good things that happen for this team this year. In fact, I would say this rookie class, it was actually a pretty promising game for almost the entire rookie class. Now, Breece Hall had a fumble, but outside of that, he played pretty well. He and Michael Carter worked well together in the run game. Sauce Gardner, I mentioned him. Jermaine Johnson had a sack. Jermaine Johnson has kind of been a forgotten guy. All the attention went to the other rookie, Michael Clemens, the 4th-round pick, based on what he did in preseason. But Jermaine Johnson really stepped up in this game and had a sack. So it was Garrett Wilson. I mean, the first time Garrett Wilson got the ball, it was this crazy play where Flacco kind of threw across the field. It was a 3rd down play. Garrett Wilson made like 3 guys miss. He was like, he had like 4 guys between him and the sticks. He made 3 guys miss, almost picked up a first down. Made a crazy play. Also made a really heads-up play right before the half. Tyler Conklin fumbled the ball away, and Garrett Wilson was hustling to the ball. He recovered it and saved the Jets a field goal. And that saved the Jets a field goal opportunity, which the one kick Greg Zuerlein made all day. So Garrett Wilson looked really good. So, it's not all bad. It's just really frustrating. I'll say it 50 times because the Jets were right in this thing, and it was some bad luck. There was some miscues. I mean, the fumble I was talking about that Garrett Wilson jumped on, it was a third down conversion. It was a pass Tyler Conklin caught right before the half that should have extended the drive, but Conklin fumbled it backwards. So the Jets actually were in business. They may have been able to get a touchdown there and really make this a game right before the half. Miscue after miscue, but none worse than Joe Flacco. And I'm not going to defend the offensive line. I don't think the offensive line played great, but that's to be expected when you got a fourth-round rookie in there. And I look at it, who am I going to blame more? Who do I think needs to step up more? The 15-year quarterback or the rookie fourth-round offensive lineman? Who am I going to cut more slack when they don't play well? And it's easy to sit around and destroy the offensive line, and the offensive line's got to play better. George Fant had an awful game. Now, I know George Fant was shuffled from left tackle to right tackle after Mike Becton got injured and moved back to left tackle, but you know what? He did that last year, too. Last year, he moved from right tackle to left tackle week 1. He's used to playing both positions. And by the way, George Fant, one of the reasons Robert Saleh indicated that he originally picked George Fant to play left tackle and Mekhi Becton to play right tackle is Fant liked to play left tackle. So he's at left tackle. So I'm not going to act like the offensive line was great in this game. But I think it's more on Flacco because despite the offensive line not being great, the Jets were not having issues running the ball. Michael Carter had an excellent game. Breece Hall had a fumble, but aside from that, looked, I thought, pretty decent. Michael Carter was the better of the two backs, but the Jets were averaging 5.7 yards per attempt rushing the ball at halftime. So, for all you could say about the offensive line, I don't think it was enough that it should have destroyed the team. But miscues and Joe Flacco struggles, that's what did the Jets in this game. So I don't know what you do going forward. I don't know if Mike White could play better, but I'm not sure Mike White could play worse. Anyway, that's all for this post-game episode of Locked On Jets. We're going to have our regular game recap episode tomorrow. It'll be a little bit more in-depth. It'll be our regularly scheduled Monday episode. But that's all for right now. This has been the Locked On Jets podcast, part of the Locked On Podcast Network. Your team every day is our motto. If you enjoy the show, hit the subscribe button wherever you're watching or listening. You'll never miss an episode. Please give the show a 5-star review if you're listening on a podcast source, or a big thumbs up if you're watching on YouTube. Enjoy the rest of your night. And again, I'll be back tomorrow with a more in-depth Monday episode recapping the game between the Jets and the Ravens.